What's up, everybody? We got some great charts to look at today. We're going to be diving in here in just a moment. Going to go ahead and get this retweeted out on all the different socials, let people know what's going on. And we're going to dive into this chop. We got the markets breaking to the upside, but then chopping right back down, right on the edge of major moves. And yet it just cannot get through. Are we setting up for a bit of a trap, maybe in both directions? What are we to do? But we got the fam in here. The early folks are in the room. Big love to each and every one of you. Make sure you are all obviously wonderful supporters of this community and key members. Get this retweeted out on your Twitter. This is live streaming on YouTube and on the @KellyKellam and Academy BitLab. Show some love. We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. And while we are waiting to hop into this, let's go ahead and get some tunage playing, because yes, the market is still pumping in the background. We just haven't gotten that blast off we want. So let's get some vibes.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish shelter. It's not our fault. Blame the coal. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We're hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pump, altcoin, pumping.
we are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't
flight
nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Prepare for this.
I am ready. I know each and every one of you is ready. Drop a 1 in chat if you are active, alive in this chat. Let's get this flying. If you're watching, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitter, head over to my @KellyKellam page and hit that retweet. Let people get in here. We're going to dive into this. We got some charts to go over. Let's rock. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We got to dive right on in to these charts because we're seeing a lot of just, shenanigans in this price action with the rounding top that we talked about potentially breaking down to this level. We got it. We kind of deviated below it and sucked right back into it. In so doing, we formed a bit of a shoulder, head, and shoulder here, inverted head and shoulders, with the target up here at 69, which would actually break this high right here if we were to get up to this. But considering the fact that we've got the liquidity right here, if we do push through this, that may be this goes all the way from 68 all the way up here to 68.3 for the very hot zones. If we are able to slice through this, we would likely get a pretty strong short squeeze and a quick move up here into that 69 region. Would that be a trap? Would that be the start of something? Tell me something good. Well, we got to look at what's going on. We're getting into it today, everybody. We got 73 people in the room right as we kick off. Big love to everybody that's here early. Shout out Bad Fox, Silver Days, Chris Pfaff. Who else we got in here? Water Malone. What's up? Museum of Corruption. Akyas. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but shout out to everybody that's here. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, big love to you for being here. But we got to talk about this because we're seeing some movements. This is on the hourly. We saw some pumpage earlier today, and of course, Bitcoin's stalling a little bit right now. And so we're seeing the same thing, some chop on all these different projects. But we have some really key signals that we've got to look at today and what's going on. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. I'm not sure if this is going to be a full hour show today. It might be a little bit shorter just because I got a lot of things I need to get done, but we'll see how it goes because we got a lot to talk about. So shout out to each and every one of you. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding the bell. Big love to all of you. Now, this was about, taxing, but this is something that's important. There's 550 billion, $2.5 trillion and big money, smart money. This is not even accounting for millionaires. There's so much money that's out there. And we're starting to see people take the stage like Paul Tudor Jones, getting out there talking about how he has no fixed income investments. It's all in gold. A huge portion of it is in gold and Bitcoin. And we're seeing that we've got that foundation set up now with these ETFs and how much appetite has been in those ETFs. The fact that 1,800 ETFs have launched in the last 4 years, and Bitcoin has far dominated these by, I'm talking droves. I think it's like 7 or 8 of the top 18 of all 1,800, 7 or 8, I might even be more than that, are the top performing ETFs out there. The appetite is real, and it hasn't even really started yet. So just pay attention to that and consider the fact that the numbers associated with Bitcoin ETFs continue to astonish. Remember, it's not just the ones that launched here in the US January 11th of this year. There's 61 billions in total assets under management across the ETFs globally. 21 billion total net flow. IBIT is the most successful BlackRock ETF ever launched. This is outside of Bitcoin. This is every ETF that they've launched. The IBIT, which is the Bitcoin spot ETF, most successful they've ever seen with over 26 billion now. IBIT also has plus 1.5 billion in inflows in the last week. We see Bitwise, BitB is the fourth largest ETF launched in 2024 of 575 ETFs this year alone. Reminder, even the most bullish Bitcoin pundits predicted 5 to 10 billion in the first year of inflows. We are only 10 months in, and the amount of money that's flown into these ETFs in this first year has more than doubled. This is just the US, more than doubled what the expert opinions were about what was possible. The appetite is real, and what is to come is something that only those of you that have been making the right strides towards your future, aka stacking, not chopping yourself out, figuring out strategy, educating yourself. Not everything is buying and holding in this market. Sometimes it's making sure that you have a good strategy and you're learning along the way, because this is an ever-evolving space, and making sure that you know how to navigate this the best way is preeminently important for your success. So shout out to each. This one right is for you. I'm giving you all double thumbs up for being here on a daily basis, whether you're watching me periodically, whether you're watching other channels. I'm just glad that you're participating and making sure that you're trying to gather as much information as possible in these markets. So shout out to each and every one of you. Now, continuing on, we got Bitcoin. This is very important. Bitcoin is so bullish this month. It is pushing up. Yeah, that's bullish. At the same time, the strength of the dollar is pushing up, and we're also seeing gold push up at the same time. If you understand why this is important, hit the like or retweet this. Let's see who's paying attention. And we're getting, some activity here. I'll hit the like on my own because this is something that's so important. Typically, you see an inverse relationship with the dollar, the strength of the dollar and Bitcoin. We're seeing Bitcoin, the appetite for Bitcoin, the buying pressure for Bitcoin, the massive reduction in sell pressure that we've seen since March of this year when we started this sideways accumulation that's making us all feel so exhausted. Well, we're seeing that selling pressure evaporate. We're seeing buying pressure come in. We're seeing records being broken by the ETFs. We're seeing people get positioned, even if it's just psychologically. All of you I know are already positioned in some form or fashion in the crypto industry in terms of what your investments are, what your strategy is, what you're doing. And we're always trying to fine-tune that. However, considering that we're just getting this change over the last year and a half now with Larry Fink going on mainstream media on a regular basis, Anthony Pompliano on Fox and CNBC, and Dylan LeClaire on Fox regularly, Miss Teen Crypto also, speaking on Fox, Mark Yusko. We had Bill Ackman the other day speaking about his investment portfolio and getting exposure to Bitcoin and gold, and also Paul Tudor Jones and Bill Miller. I mean, the list is so long. So you have to realize, although you may feel like this is so far along, we are still so early in this market. we're still so early in this market. We're only now getting to the point where the mass populace is starting to get these seeds really planted by people that they know and trust, meaning the next wave has not even yet really begun. What is coming is something that we cannot comprehend of, but we don't want to be super hopeful, but we are aware there's something big coming, and so we are preparing for it. Maury Knows says the dollar died already, and maybe it has. It's still running very strong, and it's impacting what's happening in the global financial markets. And what we're seeing right now is Bitcoin is getting positioned to be a major economic, financial, cultural player for the rest of our lifetimes. So that's why I've been preparing in this market. Now, coming back over to what we're talking about today, new investors hold the key to Bitcoin's next major breakout. So remember, we're talking about those seeds getting planted, referring to past cycles when the decrease in UTXO, that's unspent transaction outputs, has to do, it's a technical way of talking about coins that are being held under 6 months, stopped and showed a sharp increase. Bitcoin price experienced a significant surge. So we can see that dip and then large surge here before the run, a little bit of a dip, consolidation, large surge here, it front ran the dip, but we also see it right here. The UTXOs in loss, boom, we're getting this sort of surge right as this gets to the top. And we've kind of had a similar sort of scenario here. And this was when we were at the market cycle top, coming into that. We're getting the signs and signals, the things we want to see to suggest that there's underlying pressure that the price action cannot ignore. So what we're seeing is I've just released the latest newsletter, says Checkmate. Subscribers see the tweet below. In this piece titled How High, I explore the probability framework I use to determine when Bitcoin prices are stretched too far to the upside and are thus likely to continue. So what we're watching right now is this battle between the bullish narrative, the bearish narrative, but also some of the, I don't want to say the manipulative narrative, but we're looking at what's going on with this. There's so much bullishness that's stacked into what's happening right now. I think this is the most bullish anticipated breakout in history. And thus, yes, we've had 7 months trading sideways, but that sideways trading range for 7 months hasn't just been sideways. There's been if you count the up and the down, I think it's 12 moves. If you count down, then up, then down, then up, that have been about $16,000 to $20,000 moves. In some ways, you could argue full market cycle swings with the amount of basically price movement within the 7-month consolidation. And what we're seeing with the amount of appetite, the largest performance in history of any ETFs that have ever been created ever, with the flows, the experts predicted 5 to 10 billion by end of year. We're seeing 2 to 3 times that just in the US alone on these new ETFs. And we're just now getting the FASB rules that are coming in the middle of December. We have 16 billion. Have we forgot about it? $16 billion is going to be released in stable coins to FTX holders that have been waiting for that capital. And that's coming in December as well. We have the election coming up at the first week of November, which is looking more and more and more likely. We have to see how this all plays out, but it's looking more and more likely it'll be a Trump administration. But the question is going to be, how's the market going to react? Are we starting to see some buoying of the market appetite because there is bullishness around the idea if Trump is in office, if you're a crypto holder, whether or not you like him or not politically, when you look at this from an investment thesis, we're starting to see markets getting buoyed. And we're seeing people like Bill Ackman and other people saying they're positioning their portfolio as if Trump was going to be in office. And I do think that is a case in broader markets. But when we're looking at what's going on right now, everybody's looking for that mass breakout, that major pump, that God candles to the upside. And because of that, we're seeing over-leveraged positions to the upside and then to the downside and then to the upside. And we're seeing this on a daily basis as we're updating this each day. And we saw all the liquidity below us. Okay, we swept it. Now we got all this liquidity above us. We're sweeping it. Does sweeping this to the upside mean the breakout is here? That's what we have to answer. Or is this going to be another liquidity grab and another reset, slightly washing some people out, because we are at the highest levels of open interest on the CME futures that we've ever seen. The anticipation is so ripe that it sets up a scenario that a lot of people can get really wrecked if it doesn't immediately go the direction they want. People jump in a little bit too aggressively sometimes, and then they get fearful, and then they jump out, and then they jump back in. No, we need to mind our P's and Q's right now so that we do not wreck the possibilities of our future. So coming back over to this chart from Checkmate, this is the short-term holders cost basis, basically short-term holder MVRV Bollinger Bands. So basically you have the short-term holders, short-term holder cost, and then essentially what he's done is basically applied a Bollinger Band to it, which basically gives you two standard deviations of likelihood based on the last 95 period. Doesn't matter, the last 20 period, the 95 percentile likelihood of where price action will go based on the Bollinger Bands around the short-term holder cost basis. Long story short, too many words. When this gets up into this overheated zone, it cools off a little bit. Overheated zone cools off a little bit, comes all the way back. Overheated zone cools off. Now bounce, same thing. We're getting into that overheated zone as it relates specifically to the short-term holder MVRV. Does this mean we can't break higher? It does not mean that, but it does suggest that there is pressure to kind of suppress that move at the moment or expect that move, especially when you see, yes, we have the inverted head and shoulders and we have the breakout, but then this is the target. This is the zone. This is 69.8, 69.7, but we see this massive pocket of liquidity directly above us. So are the setups in the charts trying to get people, encourage people to go over leveraged in a position only to have it reverse on them? That's something we need to contend with right now, because I do think this market is ripe for emotional manipulation if you're not paying attention. So coming back over, we got a couple more things to go over. Then we'll do a little bit of TA going on here. And by the way, shout out to everybody that is watching. We got a couple hundred people in the room. Make sure you head over to my page right here at Kelly Kellam. And I want to point something out. This is one of the reasons why I always bring up my page and how it's spelled. 2 L's twice, Kellykellam, because I typed in my name earlier to find a chart. And I was like, and this is the only ones that I can see. There's a couple hundred more. Look at all these fake profiles out there. Make sure you're spelling my name correctly. Make sure it has a blue check mark. Make sure it's got about 30,000 followers. Because there's a lot of fake accounts out there. But make sure also that you participate and you enter to win. We're giving away stuff on a weekly basis. Next drawing is on Monday. Hit this retweet button, hit this like button, participate in the live chats and commenting down below. I see it all here in my chat window up here on the screen. So big love to each and every one of you. Now that we got that out of the way, let's continue on. We got to show some love to content when we see it. So we're going to hit the like button right there. And continuing on, what do we see? This is from the Real Plan C. Retweeted one of our other, one of my favorite analysts out there as well, TechDev _52. And what he's showing here, let's look at this liquidity cycle. Top, when this breaks down, it's also the breakdown of Bitcoin. Top, the breakdown, it's also the breakdown of Bitcoin. Top, breakdown. Well, man, we're getting a little bit, but now this is what we're looking for right here is, are we going to get that bounce? Hasn't even begun. So all of this setup, the point here, all of this setup that we're talking about with the largest amount of, I froze up there for a second, the largest amount of whale activity we've ever seen before a major run, similar to what we saw back in 2017, similar to what we saw back in 2020, but exponentially larger. Talking about time, the location of this appetite for whales stacking in, 100 to 10,000 Bitcoin. Large amounts of purchasing pressure where we're at, the appetite for the ETFs, what's going on in the global liquidity, the fact that we're coming into on the Chinese liquidity cycle is right now the moment where they tend to really start ramping things up. And that tends to coincide somewhat front running with the the U.S. liquidity and the fact that we have an election right around the corner. All of these things, as well as a halving cycle, the number of days post halving cycle, all of the things that we've been talking about have lined up in such a way that it's so much more bullish than we can imagine. But again, that makes, as bullish as we could be, that makes it so ripe for the opportunity to get people emotionally invested that the breakout's here, only to have this reverse, potentially come down to these targets that we've had mapped out for some time. When the price was up here, we were talking about this target and already had this one here based on these rejection. I mean, we could extend this further. Look at this. Let's extend it further. Okay, look at this. Let's extend it further. Okay, look at this. Rejection, support, support. Let's extend it further. Look at this. Bounce, rejections. Let's extend it further. This is a zone we cannot ignore. If the price does pull back a little bit, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It means in the chart, it's something we call price memory. There's essentially where there's liquidity interest at certain zones, whether it's a prophecy, whether it's just psychology, whether it's just people have learned this and it's getting, reinforced because people see it and other people teach it. It doesn't matter why it is. Price action rejected here. So if price does lose this level, you can expect there's going to be some interaction at this level with some sort of a bounce. And if we lose that, then we'll look down to the next level in the chart, so on and so forth. But we had this deviation above. The rounding top told us this was likely going to break down. Somewhat of a bearish divergence on the oscillators also indicated that. We got the breakdown, found support above it. Now we've sliced through it. We're getting a little bit of this move to the upside. If we get a lower high here, because remember, when you have the rounding top with a lower low followed by a lower high, this is indicating probably a couple, 1, 2, 3 moves to the downside. So we were watching 64 and then somewhere down here in the $61,000 to $62,000 region. Does that mean the bull is over? No. It means that we still have opportunity, because remember, all the bullishness that has been supporting the idea of a major market breakout is still there. This breaking down to these levels doesn't change any of that. In fact, that means that you still have an opportunity. And none of this is financial advice. I'm talking about the strategy by which markets move and what we've seen on the regular pattern of how price action plays out leading into those large movements. So if this does, okay, even if we got the inverted head and shoulders, if this does push up into the zone, doesn't even quite get there, we have the lower high. We need to watch what happens in the zone that may signal that we may come down and get these levels. If that happens, then these other tokens that we're looking at, whether it be Ethereum or Tau or, Link or Avalanche or Near or Render, Stacks, Solana, BNB, Injective, Dot, Aave, it doesn't matter what it is. There's going to be large in part, if Bitcoin does roll over and has a little bit more of that washout to flush out all that over bullish exuberance, then a lot of these coins are probably going to take a bit of a spill as well. So if you can be aware of that, and as it plays out, one, you're going to be like, okay, I saw this likely coming. One, you're going to feel proud that you didn't get so emotional about it. If you do get somewhat emotional about it, you also know that this was a roadmap ahead of time, so you don't have to act on your emotions. Because if you do, this is what's going to happen right here. Let's go. I'm going to put this on 2x speed because this is what's going to happen to you.
Well, it might be this man's worst day ever as he gets run over by a tire. And he gets tired, literally, and now gets back up, tries to move to the side of the road, making sure he doesn't have any more incidents of getting run over by a vehicle. Now we can all sit back and look at this video and think, man, what are the odds of getting hit by a tire on the freaking road? And I'd have to say the odds are pretty good, because the same tire is headed in his direction. He gets tired and retired all in the same day. For the love of God, man, just stay home next time.
Who gets hit by a random tire on the road, knocks them off their little scooter or whatever their vehicle they have, they pull it to the side of the road, and somehow that tire comes back and hits them? This is what's happening to people over and over and over again on this market. It's happened on the macro. When you look at this, let's go on the daily. This happened on the macro when you look at this with this zone right here. And every time we get into these tops, the same thing happens. We can get, let's, for instance, go down to the 24-minute. You're going to go up. No, breakdown. You're going to go up. No, breakdown. And okay, let's go short. Oh, we're going up. Oh, let's go long. This is what people are doing right now, and it is wrecking their portfolios. That is not what we want to see right now. We want to see that. For me, I'm trying to take as many opportunities. If I do have a long opportunity, I'll take it. I tried 2 times this morning on this breakout, and I got stopped out twice. So I'm not taking this trade anymore. Now, I didn't lose a bunch of money because I got stopped out. Does that mean you lost the trade? No, it means that trade wasn't for you. So I lost $20 and I think $35. Great. This is why you allocate appropriately when you're trading. You set stop losses. You take advantage. If you're going to subjugate yourself to that tire knocking your ass over both directions, you got to make sure you're wearing protective headgear. You cannot just jump in this market and say, this feels right, because that's more often than you want to believe. Even when you have a strategy, you got triggered a little bit by your emotions. So you really want to emphasize here that you take smart positions. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Well, a friend of mine here in the space, he's made so much money in these markets. His name's Crypto Burb. He has about a 30% hit rate on his trades. Well, then how the hell can he be doing so well? Because he takes trades that have a setup and he has very tight stop losses. So he gets stops out a lot. When the trades hit, they hit really big. But when he's taking losses, they're so well mitigated by those stop losses, it doesn't affect his portfolio. And you should not be trading your portfolio. You should be setting aside a specific allocation for trading that is a percentage in the under 10% range of what your portfolio is that you're trading. And then within that, say you're trading, you like to trade Bitcoin, you like to trade Tau, you like to trade Solana. Well, you don't put all of your trading portfolio, that allocation on every one of those trades. Say you have $2,000 set aside that you're going to trade with. Maybe you use 500 for Bitcoin. Maybe you use 300 for Solana. Maybe you use, and it's going to be different for each and every one of you, but make sure you're thinking about this before you're jumping into this, because you can make a lot of money trading. Unfortunately, most people lose, and it's because they don't mitigate their risk. Do not try to get rich by, this is a setup I've been waiting on my whole life. I'm just going to throw my portfolio at it. Remember, I talked about this quite a few times. I haven't talked about it lately just because I can't talk about it every day. But about 4 years ago, I lost like almost $100,000 in 2 trades because I took a trade that took a large loss, and then a kamikaze trade lost that. It was about a 15-minute time frame, and it was because I was being an idiot. I was being an asshole to myself. I wasn't thinking about my future. I wanted it now. But I've learned from that, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It made me really be able to be profitable and make real money in this market because I think things throughly now. I think things through now, and I try to make sure that I'm mitigating my risk. So when we're looking at all this data and we see the setup, where we're at, consolidation right in here, we're waiting for this next large leg to the upside. So let's not just go throwing it out. Now, on the other hand, on the bullish side, there's a potential with this washout that we got, this small little pullback. It's a crash. It's not a crash. On the greater scheme of things, it's a very minimal movement. That's a rise, retrace, W formation, continuation, retrace. Are we going to get the continuation to the upside, or is this potentially going to break down and retest back down here into the 60, somewhere between $64,000 and $61,000? Well, we're going to have to see what happens in the next 2 days at this level, because we got the retest, and this TA trader, trader tardigrade, is not the only one that's seen this. We also see, let's go ahead, interact with the post we're looking at. It's also from one of my favorite analysts in the space, also Rect Capital, talks about this as well. It's all resistance here. Now, we had an opportunity, but fell through. Okay, we came down, looks like a retest, faked people out, and then lost. What we're seeing right now is a potential retest that could have the continuation, but everything when you're looking at price action and patterns on the chart, it's not, this is a retest, it's going to be continuation. This is a potential retest that could see continuation. What we want to watch here is the volume. If there's divergences develop, this is on the daily time frame. So if we get down to the hourly, we want to see, as this pushes up, is strength coming along with it, or is this pushing up and the strength is still, the RSI is still very low? Or the BitLab trading stack, the BitLab intelligence shows, as you get high volume candles and then bearish divergence right as this, and it cannot even break past this high. We want to see this push up just on the most basic level. We want to see this bounce. We want to see this push up and not show weakness as this comes into this rounding over. This basically just gives us an M formation like this that is up here. And we have to basically let this tell us what it's going to do, not expect it. Expectations wreck everything you could ever have in life. You can have hopes, you can have dreams, But when you expect something, whether or not you believe we're living in a simulation or you think it's the hand of God, when you expect things, that's typically when things become out of line and you get hurt or you get wrecked. You can do your part to prepare yourself and do everything on your accord, with your actions, with your movements, with your preparation. That's when things tend to work out. So on this, we are preparing for this potentially to be a test and a breakout, but it's not yet fully defined there yet. But man, we are getting close. And when we also see other things like Chainlink, this has been in the news a lot lately, along with Avalanche. And we see Chainlink teams up with 8 major players to launch an AI-powered initiative tackling unstructured financial data. So is now Chainlink going to also benefit from a little bit of that AI narrative as well? We'll have to see. But it's so surprising to me that Chainlink's price has not yet fully captured a lot of that super bullishness from all these news stories. Part of that's going to be because the narrative isn't yet there with the crypto market, because Bitcoin is still not seeing that risk really explode into it. Now, on the flip side of that, could there be a little bit of suppression because this is so integrated? We'll have to see. But I've been stacking into this. I made, in the Discord the other day, I shared this. Where is it at? Right here. Boom. Right here. So I talked about, I made a pretty large move into, it's about $2,500 into Render. Also added some to Link because, where's it at? Link, guys, I think Link is so undervalued for where it's positioned globally. I mean, and we have this large falling wedge trying to break out. Could we get another move lower? Sure. And if we do, I'm going to find a way to add to that position. But guys, with all these different news stories and everything going on, I mean, this makes me so bullish on what's happening. And then in addition to that, we're talking about altcoins in general from msconfig_exe. Make sure you go give him a follow. Wonderful guy. This is typically the move happens after the new year. So we have to wait till after the new year. But wait. In this pattern, on the others.d, this is the others, everything outside of the top 10. So looking at the dominance, aka the capital flow into the altcoins outside of that top 10, meaning right here, when we're looking at the market caps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now looking at everything else, all the other thousands of coins, excluding that top 10. So you're getting a real metric on those coins in the market, the altcoins in the market. And we're seeing in this pattern, the others.d is it being front run? It seems that the bottom is forming early this cycle. Altcoins are bullish for 2025. So whether we start getting a move into the end of this year, maybe it's next year. At the end of the day, it's a patience game right now because the foundation is built. We're trying to make sure it's got the right sealant. We want to make sure that all the plugs and electrical are working. We're getting those final inspections before we're all allowed to move into the profits that are about to come. It just matters that you're in that house when they hand over the keys. That's what's happening right now. And it's just like everything bureaucratically around the world. Anything that you really want, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, and it takes diligence to participate with in these profits that are coming. Some of the coins that you have in your portfolio right now are going to absolutely fail. You're going to get rugged by some, especially if you have very small market cap coins. You're going to have some coins that have security breaches. This is one of the reasons why, if you are going to participate in anything, I would argue outside of the top 4 or 5, you need to make sure that you have a very diversified portfolio so that you can take the hits if they do come, but you're basically provided, I don't want to say a safety net, but safety and diversity if you are holding altcoins. If you're only holding Bitcoin, then you're set up better than anybody in terms of a safety allocation. But if you are holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, I think you're still probably pretty good. It starts getting more and more wary once you get beyond the avalanches and the near and all that. Once you start getting into coins that are way further down this list, even Render might have, I like Render a lot. I just moved into it, but I'm also aware that if there's a major issue that happens with, let's say, squashing AI regulation, or the limitation of certain things, or a massive exploit at NVIDIA, maybe Render and the AI plays in the market also get a little bit of negative capital flow if there's a big issue that happens with NVIDIA. You can't plan 100% on everything. All you can do is do your diligence. Tune in here on a regular basis. Tune into all these other channels that you like to watch. But make sure you're setting yourself up for success. And part of that is making sure you're protecting yourself along the way. Shout out to Alden. $4.99 Super Chat says, Kelly, my man, price prediction for near and Ondo at the top of the cycle. Asking for a friend. Well, you're a friend. I'm a friend. Let's all be a friend. So let's go ahead and look at what was it? Avalanche? What was it? Near and Ondo. So let's go ahead. Let's look at Near first because I'm so bullish on Near. It's been one of the better performers in that altcoin portfolio we put together. Let's get an older chart. Near. Let's see. Just make sure that might. Okay. So here we go. See, understanding the marketplace, understanding the assets. You saw how I saw that last chart. I knew this wasn't all the data because I know I've seen other charts and I know Nears was around before September 22nd. So in order to get the best data for this, I got the hiccups. We're going to an older chart. So where we're at right now, this Near, Tether, Binance. Let's do a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom. Look at this. It's come up right now, hesitating. Got there. I don't want to say rejection, but rise, a little bit of retrace here. Resistance at the 382. The golden pocket's up here at 1219. So just to get from the damn 382 to the golden pocket is from 8 to 12. Well, currently we are at in the fours, okay? 462. So even getting back to the golden pocket is a 200% gain. Getting to the previous all-time high is about 354%. That's a 3.5x. Let's actually move that like that. I would expect, because I also remember I went to several different conferences this year, one in Brussels, one in Nashville, and also one in Singapore. Oh, I also went to Consensus in Austin. So 4 conferences this year. I spoke to the Near team at 3 of them. And each time I talked to them as the dates progressed, they brought it up when I was in Austin. And then as the dates progressed through the summer, and then, when I went out to Singapore last month, they keep getting more excited because they're like, we have NDAs, we can't tell you, but we have, they gave me some outline that they were able to give me about some really major developments that they've been working into for Near and the Near ecosystem, about some major developments and things that they're rolling out. It might be as early as the end of this year, but I know it's going to be sometime, hopefully expected, I think, by Q1 of major things that involve AI, of depends, all kind of stuff. So I'm very excited about this. They've got an incredible community, a lot of respect within the crypto ecosystem as well, and they're doing quite well. So, I mean, if we went I would say a minimal sort of expectation target, the 1.618, that'd be $34. From where we're at right now, that is just too good to even imagine. That's a 6.3x. That's on the lower side. We have seen altcoins that have launched in the previous cycle. The second, we've had into the 2 to somewhere between the 2 and 4 zone. That's 54 up to 75. If we got well beyond that, I'm not even going to predict that because there's no telling what this market cycle is going to do, where we get hung up, if Bitcoin even really with authority goes through 100,000. If we do, which I expect we will, and we get in that 140 to 160 range, I think that, price will be somewhere in this region. If Bitcoin really runs and we get that run all the way into the 180 to 220 range, I think we'll be somewhere up in this region. Either way, this is, I think, a great opportunity. Again, has to be from your own diligence. If you agree with what I'm saying, great. Go and try and poke holes in it. Look into their project. Look at their token supply. Go to their website. Understand what's going on with something. Don't just buy it because you think it's going to go up. But I do think there is a bit of bearishness. I thought you were bullish. I am. But when we're looking at what's going on in the market, there's a little bit of bearishness here with a bit of, I don't want to call it a head and shoulders, but very similar. Shoulder, bit of a head, bit of a shoulder. For instance, if Bitcoin does have a pullback below 61 and it tests 58 down to, and it starts really scaring people, this will likely have a bit of a washout. And if that happens, you may be able to get near down here at 275. So let's put a box there. I don't expect this with a huge probability factor, but there is a likelihood that if the market does have a larger washout, that we do get an opportunity down here in this zone. If we're able to find support in this region, maybe coming as, finding support on this sort of neckline for $4, $4.15, then, then we start working up. We're going to have the hurdle at 867 again. Pretty large hurdle here. Once we break that, next hurdle is going to be at 12 to 14, and so on and so forth. But as it stands right now, on the macro outlook, I'm very bullish on near. In fact, I pray that I get another opportunity down here, but I'm holding it. Am I going to sell it? No, because this altcoin portfolio that I've been sharing with you all along the way, this is mostly buys that I'm holding as a position in the next year. Now, I've made a couple small changes here and there. In fact, I outlined one of them this morning. I did take a small amount, and I still like stacks. This is nothing against stacks. This shouldn't have impact what you're doing with stacks at all. But I was looking at the allocations of the coins up here, and it was stacks was well up here. And for me, the way I'm allocating my portfolio, I didn't think stacks deserved to have a near the same size allocation as near protocol. So I took 1,000 out of that. I rotated it out because I'm basically back at basically the cost I bought it up. I rotated about $1,000 worth, which was 600 stacks. And I didn't basically move it out. I wanted to get exposure to Proppy, PRO, which is essentially a RWA real estate play. And just a lot of different people I know in the community, very, very bullish on it for possibilities. We're seeing an expansion when it's happening in the RWA space. So I expect this may do good. And it's $1,000. So, 90 something thousand portfolio, this altcoin portfolio, you know what I mean? This is, that would, that constitutes just above a 1% allocation. So if some issue happens, okay, we can deal with it. But I'm using the capital that I have in this, trying to use the capital that I have in this portfolio. If I need to I can rebalance some stuff. So that's what's going on there. Now, are we getting that retest? I think, we got the bullet. Guys, I'm so bullish on everything going on in this market right now. In fact, yesterday, I posted this. Everyone, this is at 7:41 yesterday in the Discord. By the way, the link is right there, lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Again, it's right there under the screen there. You can see it flashing, lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. You get access in here. And if you want to upgrade and also get access to our 120 lessons with candles, candle patterns, chart formations, indicators, trading strategies, psychology of trading, on-chain data analysis, it's all in there from beginner to pro. You can upgrade once you sign up there with that link, and you get major discounts. Those deals are going to go away once we break up. I didn't think that this deal was going to last 7 months because I did not expect when we were looking at the price back at March when we popped up here, we had a deal. And when this started pulling back, the deal was going to be once we broke above that previous all-time high right here, the deal is going to close. But this is giving you guys a lot of opportunities. So don't miss out on that while you can. That's all I'll say about that. But I was talking here. I said, everyone, Bitcoin took a small tumble last night right into the box area here. And I said, right now into the blue box. We had mapped out from last week. If this area fails to hold, I expect 64 to 65K range next. Similarly, the alts tumbled along with it. We'll break down when I get to my desk. And I said also, notice the VWAP, the yellow line at the bottom, the BitLab trend of the TrimLab indicator, the BitLab trend fuel indicator, which is down here. It moved up to near zero line and is getting rejected. Kelly, what are you talking about? This yellow line, this is the VWAP, the value weighted average price. When this broke down here, price broke down too, fine. But as this pushed up, the price came back to the volume weighted average price also because the volume weighted average price moved down. Does that make sense? So as that happened, this came back to parity with this, and this angled back to the downside, showing that the likelihood that there was a strong likelihood there was going to be a pressure to move that negative spread to the downside. And then that's exactly what we got. So we sliced right through. You see, this is before, and we got that move right down boom, right into the mid 65s. So now we've got this large inverse head and shoulders with the potential breakout to the upside, but I think it's tripping up a lot of people. So coming back into that, let's zoom in on this on the 1 hour time frame, double click here to make it. So now we got two scenarios right now. Currently we've broken out, but is it failing? The question right now is this failing? Currently, this could be a retest, which we'd like to see, and then the move. If we lose this zone, then this whole thing is invalidated, and this will likely come down, test back here to 66.6. Crazy, right? And if we lose that, then I do think we're going to come back down to 65 and scoop liquidity down here into this range here. So looking at this on the charts, let's update this. So it scooped up some of the liquidity, moving down. This looks a bit like an M formation, right? But what does it look like on the 12 hour? You see, now we're on the downside where we have all this liquidity that's open up below us. So this would scoop out all the way through that 66, but this is not yet showing, and this will change. You have to update these things regularly. You can go to coinglass.com and you go to right here, liquidation heat map, come do the 12 hour. And as this moves, you'll see these things. You can keep throughout the day, keep hitting refresh. But if this does scoop up this liquidity and start moving up a little bit, if there's no more liquidity down below us, then maybe that's it. And then we move up. If this moves down and we keep getting basically longs coming in, then maybe this moves a bit further. But there's a lot of just mixed signals about what's going on right now because everybody wants it to be bullish because the midterm and the macro is suggesting such bullishness. But in the smaller time frames, there's still just signs of chop. And I do think there might be some larger move at play here in the very near future because everybody's so bullish about what's to come. I do think it's one of the most anticipated bull breakouts in history. And maybe we just get this chop for the next 6 or 7 days into the November 5th. But guys, we've been waiting 7 months. Can we wait another 2 weeks? Maybe it's, pushing into after the election. I don't think it'll be on the day of the election, but within a few days of the election and so on and so forth of that week. But the macro picture is here. The excitement is brewing underneath. At some point, the willingness of sellers is going to evaporate and the buyers are all that's going to be left. But everybody, as I said, I was going to cut it a little short today. Let's watch what's going on here on Bitcoin, because if this does spill, then these coins that we've been watching, and as bullish as we are, don't think of it, why is it crashing? Change that language. Say, where is there opportunity? So Tau, for instance, has been pushing up. Let's go to the daily. Tau has been pushing up, but we talked about this rising wedge. They tend to break down. It did break down. And now, look, it's holding on this line. If we lose this line, I'm watching for down here at 469. But if we just ride this down, fine. If we're getting opportunities down below, this is one of those projects I'm stacking into. Render, also trading sideways in this, essentially this range, sideways range. See? If we lose this, then I'm watching for this zone down here at 441. And we've got this larger trend line that goes all the way back to March. So maybe this is going to be the target down here at this 440s. Does that mean Render's not bullish anymore? No, I think we may. And yesterday I said it's not last opportunity, but we're in this zone where we're at right now when we have not yet broken out. This is in region the last opportunity, I think, before this market really starts to get away from us. So whether it's going to be a day or a week or two, we have to see, because there's so much anticipation about everything that's going on right now. In fact, also Solana breaking out. Remember, we drew this out about a week ago. This flat level of resistance, rising level of support, comes up into it, look, bounces, and then launches through. Solana is actually looking quite strong right now comparatively. But at the same time, we just kind of had this sideways range as it is. So, but you know what is moving today? Constellation DAG. They have their high def conference today in San Francisco. In fact, they invited me out there. They're going to put me up. I was going to do some content out there, but because I was away for 3 or 4 different conferences this year, I just said I'd love to be there. I'm going to have to check it out digitally because I've been away too much, and I want to make sure that I could be here with you guys in the streams. But look at these wicks trying to get through this level of previous support, resistance, slice through. Are we about to get? It depends on what they got some big announcements. Apparently, they're going to be breaking out today. So let's pay attention to what happens here with Constellation DAG, and then of course Injective also trying to do this inverted head and shoulders, but it's starting to get a little bit ugly. There's signs of life in the charts with also signals that we may get another opportunity lower. Long story short, it's not over. We still got some chop. Take advantage of this because this is opportunity. And remember, if you want to trade with us, head over to that link that is directly below the video. You can see it. It's directly below the video. Where is it at? Right here. The link. And it's also pinned in the top of the live chat there on YouTube. Get in here, sign up, click on this link. It has you sign up with CoinW, and it has the whole link. It gives you 3 steps, only 3 steps, and you get into the Signals Lab where it's me and 5 or 6 other traders sharing signals throughout the day of trade setups, breakdowns, stop losses, entries, and it's all as an example. None of this is financial advice. It's just showing you our process and where we're making money and the different setups and strategies we're using. So get involved with that. And of course, make sure you're protecting yourself. Head over to nordvpn.com/BitLab, nordvpn.com, nordvpn.com/BitLab. You get 4 months free. This is about I've been using Nord for 4 or 5 years, and I wanted to set up an exclusive deal for you guys. This is the best way to protect yourself online. Make sure that you can, take advantage of having security while you can also navigate the internet safely. But with that, that's all I got today, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful day. It is Thursday. I will be seeing you later on. Let's all head over to the blockchain basement. Show some love. Let me make sure this redirect is set on. In fact, you don't even have to do anything. You can just stay here on the channel, and it will automatically send you there. Or you can head over there right now. But that's all I got. Adios. Let me make sure I did not miss any super chats. No, thank you, Aiden. Again, big love to everybody that's here. Let's go. Adios.